I'm Norman Liss, and the name of the program is The Way to Go. I invite you to join me each week at this time as we explore places to go and things to do in this area. Eating out is one of America's favorite outdoor pastimes. The question, of course, is why so many restaurants are successful while others are failing. Today we're going to explore what makes a restaurant successful from the viewpoint of the restaurant operator and from the viewpoint of we, the public. My guests today are two of the most successful restaurants in Westchester, David Spivak of Grandma's Country Pie Restaurant in Yorktown, and Nicholas Racanelli of the Pizza and Brew restaurants. Gentlemen, what's the secret? What's the magic formula? What is it that makes your restaurant so popular and so successful?
Well, I would say that I don't think there's any magic formula. I would say that in the running of a restaurant, there are so many factors that have to work. You've got to be in a position to give good service. You've got to be in a position to have a restaurant that's clean and delightful for people to come into. You've got to have a restaurant where people come in and they feel comfortable in. It's like they're coming. Ours is called Grandma's, and of course we have set ours up so that it's like going to your grandmother's house. And
a personal feeling.
Yeah, you've got to remember that most people love to go to their grandmother's house because everything fits and everything.
So the name connotes something which is then carried out within the restaurant.
Of course, of course.
Nick, now we come to Pizza and Brew, one of the most successful over 20 years. The Pizza and Brew restaurants have been throughout the area. And how many are there now?
There are 8 locations right now.
Eight locations.
Throughout Westchester, yes.
You certainly don't have an image of Grandma in your restaurants.
No, we don't. Again, our success is based on a concept also, with quality and value and all the things that David mentioned also.
Yeah, both of your restaurants, certainly at popular times, there are lines of people waiting to go in. Now, if people are waiting to go into a restaurant, that restaurant has to be good. And this is consistent. I've seen it at both of your places. People don't complain about those lines. All the things that you're talking about quality, you're talking about cleanliness. Is that apparent to the public? Do people say, I'm going to go to this restaurant because it's clean, or do they go there because the restaurant has a setting that they like? What's the secret? You both cater to families, but you also have people who come without children, people of all ages at all times, I think, at both of your places. What is the impression that they get? What is it that generates the success?
Well, is when we started to discuss this thing earlier, you've got to remember that what people want is all of the factors have to be in play. The food's got to be good, and it has to be consistently good. You can't have it good one week and not good the next week. When I say consistently good, it has to be consistently good year in, year out. And Nick's been in business over 20 years, and his restaurant is consistently good, year in, year out. You can't be good for just a year. You've got to be
Let's talk about that word, good. Nick, maybe I'm putting you on the spot with this. Does the public know good food?
The public knows very well good food in our days. They've been educated. They've been experienced in different types of foods, and their expectations are much higher than they used to be. They're, again, sophisticated in what they want, and you got to produce for them. Otherwise, they'll go somewhere else.
What makes food good? What is, we're using this term, what makes food good?
Quality. Number one is quality, the products that you use to make your final product, and it goes from there.
And just when someone says, I had a good meal, do they mean that it was tasty? What do they mean by good?
Good meal means that it tasted good, number one, and number two was plentiful, and they're ready to come back.
And yet there are so many restaurants, maybe not in this area, certainly not in your places, where they serve tiny portions and people keep coming back. So plentiful in some restaurants is not what people are looking for. In some restaurants, maybe it's the ambiance, maybe it's the setting, maybe it's the location.
Well, of course, we're family restaurants, and we're not an upscale restaurant. We don't have the tablecloths. We're not the kind of restaurant that you go to if you have a special occasion and so forth. We're the kind of restaurant you can probably go to every day if you have to and still feel comfortable about coming to our restaurant. But the reason you come there is that you know that the food is very wholesome, that the portions are ample, as we put it. And how do you accomplish that? Well, I think basically you accomplish that when deep down inside your heart you've decided that what you want to do for your customer is give him the very best. You, in essence, become the attorney for your customer. And you're out there, and he's your client. And he's the most important guy that any restaurant person...
Now you come to the subject of service. Now, I know, having been to both of your restaurants, that service is a very, very important factor from your perspective, and certainly it's reflected by what I see as a customer. So you don't have to wait long, I suppose. I suppose you train and supervise your employees. What's the secret? What's the technique, Nick? What's going on there?
Well, the service, the technique to service is being there and supervision and making sure that the whole operation is clicking at the right pace, at the right time, and that everything comes together. It's almost like an orchestra, a restaurant. Everything has to be in order and it's in its proper place and proper time. Otherwise, it doesn't function.
Does it start when the customer comes in the door?
It starts with early in the morning with the food preparation. That's when it starts. You're building up into the day to the point where people start to come in, and when you're ready and you're set for them, service goes well.
And how do you convey that to the customer? How do you convey the fact that they're important, as David has said, that they're important, that they're the most important person, that they're the client, as you put it? How do you convey that? Do you train your people?
Well, Nick used the word orchestra, and I think that's a good way of putting it. Basically, good restaurants, the kind of restaurant that Nick runs, all 8 of them, he has created a team. Everybody knows what their job is. And the manager, he is the conductor. And he's got to be out there seeing that all of these things are in motion. And there has got to be management on the floor every second. And if you see, let's assume that I'm on the floor today, and if I see somebody's head pop up, I've got to find out why their head popped up. It might be that it had nothing to do with anything that the restaurant could help her with, or him. But it's important that I'm there to see what's going on at all times. Service is not an accident. And in our restaurant, you've gone into some restaurants and you'll hear waitresses say, well, that's not my table, or that's not my section. Well, in our restaurant, we don't stand for any of that kind of thing. Everybody takes care of everybody in that restaurant. And it's a team. And if you can't really fit into that kind of concept, then you really have to go work somewhere else.
And I see a lot of that same team operation in your restaurants, where one person takes the order, but the food may be brought by someone else. Usually is brought by someone else, depending on where it's coming from, whether it's coming from the soda fountain, or whether it's coming from the kitchen, or whether it's coming from the pizza area. I suppose the person who's closest brings the food out, regardless of who took the order.
That's correct. It's called more of a buddy system, where everybody does everything for the benefit of the customer.
And how do you handle complaints?
Well, there are
I
no.
assume that there are some.
Well, you do it quickly and efficiently, and take care of the problem immediately. There's, if someone isn't happy with what they have, you can replace it instantly. If you don't replace it, and they're finished with their meal at that point, you just take it off their check. You've got to solve that problem instantly, and the customer is always right.
Always right.
Always right, and
It's almost cliche, but it's so cliche that it's true. The customer is always right.
That's a given. That's a given. Because if the customer's not happy with what you serve, whether it's justified or not, as far as he's concerned, it is. And there's nobody more important than the customer.
No reason for being in business without customers, right?
He's what we're there for.
Yeah. Now, both of you are family restaurants, and family restaurants mean children. And you both do things that particularly appeal to children. Nick, in your decor, for example, what do you do to appeal to children?
Well, our decor is based around a casual atmosphere where people come in and they're relaxed, and they're relaxed with their children and don't feel uptight, or they're not worried about the children are going to make noise or get into trouble with somebody else. And we accommodate them with children's birthday parties. We accommodate them with a special menu that we have for them. So it makes it conducive for them to bring their children. And that's part of our success of our concept, is being able to offer children and their parents a meal that they're happy with.
In several of your restaurants, you have a train set up.
A trolley car.
A trolley car. It's not in all of them, though.
No.
I guess the physical setup doesn't lend itself to all of them.
That's correct.
And was that something that started from the very beginning, or is it something that came from observation?
No, that came from a location that we were trying to put together, and it had a long, narrow type of store, and we needed to do something with it, so it didn't look long and narrow, so we broke it up with a theme of that nature.
So the physical structure lent to the design
That's
idea.
correct, right.
Now, one of the things that I'm sure that as restaurant people you always face is separating the smokers from the non-smokers. But one of the things that I find interesting that you do is sometimes separating the children from the non-children groups, and you do that with the train wherever possible, and putting the families with the young children in one section, and putting the older adults perhaps in another section.
That's correct.
And that's something you specifically do, and the people who do the seating.
Trying to accommodate both family people and a couple who's going out to dinner that may not want to be next to 2 or 3 children, and we try to accommodate them as best as possible.
Well, we of course we cater to families at every level. We have people that bring children in our restaurant that are 5 days old, and we have people that are 103 years old that come in wheelchairs, and we accommodate all of them, and they all feel very comfortable in the environment that we've created for them, which is like grandmas. I mean, all the pictures on the wall are things that we collect all over the world. Where we find something that we think would fit into our living room, we just stick it in there. And
you have a children's program that you do with the schools. I know that there are always letters from schools and from kids posted in.
Yes, we invite troops, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and class 3rd, 4th, 5th grades, 6th grades in some cases, to come in and see how we bake our pies and how we run our kitchen and so forth. But one of the things that we do is that we know that when children first come into a restaurant that they've never been in before, it's intimidating to them. And they, in many
Never
cases,
thought of it that way.
yeah, they really don't want to be there. And so what we've done is we have created in the front of our store, we have moving displays that we change every 6 or 8 weeks. And when a child comes in, it's designed for that youngster. And they just love to watch these things. And then they, of course, are more relaxed, and they tend to be much better behaved when they get into the restaurant, because this is where they want to be. Sometimes it's difficult for the parents to get them to leave, but...
Yeah, again, the concept of family restaurant also, because you appeal to people of all types, of all ages, it extends, I suppose, the day. And in some restaurants, they'll serve breakfast, and then there's nothing happens till lunchtime. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, they're quiet until dinner picks up. Whereas my experience has been in your restaurants that it's all day, and later too, especially I think in some of your locations where you get the after the movie crowd and young people later on until closing time. So by expanding the day, I think you're expanding the amount of attraction that you have.
Yes, well, of course, we're open at 8 o'clock in the morning for breakfast, and we serve lunch, and we serve dinner. So that from that point of view, we certainly get lots of people into the restaurant all day long.
How do you handle lines? You both have lines. Certainly on your Sunday breakfast brunch, you have lines. Dinner time, at most of your restaurants, there are always people waiting, and they never seem unhappy. I've never seen unhappy people waiting on those lines.
Well, I think that the way you effectively handle lines is that you've got to be very fair with people. When you put their name down on a list, you've got to make sure that you go in proper rotation all the time. And we don't even, in many cases, if we have a table, let's say, that will hold 4 people, and someone on the list is just a single, we'll put that single person at a 4-table location. And in the long run, it all averages out. And so they don't feel like, they know that when we say it's going to be 15 or 16 minutes, it's 15 or 16 minutes.
Neither of you take reservations. However, if people do have a large party coming in, you certainly will try to accommodate them. I guess people can call in advance if they have any unusual requests or a large party, and maybe it might be a good idea at this point for us to give the numbers. Why don't we start with you, Dave? What number should people call if they want to call?
Well, we're area code 914, of course, and our phone number is 739-7770. We call it our lucky numbers.
Would you repeat that?
The phone number is 739-7770.
And Nick, what number should people call for all of the pizza and brew restaurants?
Well, we're located at 914-472-1033.
And repeat that.
472-1033.
And how many restaurants do you have?
We have 8.
Why don't you just name their locations for us?
We're in Scarsdale, Hartsdale, Rybrook, Croton, Mount Kisco, Thornwood, Elmsford.
Can't remember.
I don't know if I left them all. I think that's about it. We're expecting to expand in the near future.
You are planning to expand. Let's talk about expansion. It seems to me that I don't know how frequently it is, but I suddenly hear there's another Pizza and Brew. What are your expansion plans, and are you planning to expand in any other way?
Well, it's a twofold expansion. We're presently looking at 2 locations, and one is in Yorktown and one is in Brewster. And the other avenue we're taking right now is we're going into a food manufacturing line, which will be able to get our products, our type of entrees and pizzas and calzones we're doing now to food services and possible supermarket use.
Supermarket sales?
Right.
Under what name?
Well, we're going to be putting it under our name, Raccanelli. It'll be the
Under
name,
the family name.
Family name.
and that will be sold in supermarkets.
Supermarkets and the food service industry.
That's an interesting development. You think people will make the connection because the Racanelli name is not very well known, but Pizza and Brew, of course, is very widely.
We're hoping on quality, quality that'll make the sale.
And then people will make that connection.
In Westchester area, they probably would.
How about you, Dave? Are you going to be expanding?
Well, we think that we've got it down pat at this point, and we are considering some expansion. But unless we can duplicate what we have in Yorktown and have it even better than what we have in Yorktown, we wouldn't expand. And so we want to make sure that we've got the people to do it with, and so that it's important that if you're in the one in Yorktown or any other location we go to, you feel just as comfortable. And we want to be able to create the same exact kind of environment in another location. And that's not necessarily easy.
And supervise it. You both made the point very clearly.
Supervision is what it's all about.
Of course, you don't have as many brothers and nephews as they have in the Racanelli.
That's one of our handicaps.
That helps a lot. Now, let's give your specific location so people who are not familiar with the Grandmas know exactly how to find you.
Well, an easy way to find us is you go up the head north on the Taconic and get off at Route 202. And when you get off at Route 202, you make a left turn, go down the bottom of the hill, and you go about a mile, and then you'll see Taconic Ford and Mitsubishi, and then you'll see Grandma's.
Yeah, the way I generally go is to get off at the Bear Mountain Parkway, and where it cuts right into 202 briefly, you're right there on the left, so that's an easy way to go. It's a little longer, but it takes you right to that spot very quickly.
That'll do it too.
Makes it nice and simple. I want to talk to you a little bit about preparing your specialty in front of the public. Now, I know that pasta and pizza and brew are almost synonymous, and you do, is it in all of your locations, have a pasta making machine right in the front of the restaurant?
Yes, there is.
In every one of them?
In every one.
And aside from the fact that it gives you some space where you could do this, what's your reason for doing it up front? Is it making a statement for you?
It gives your customers a chance to see how some products are made. They're all very fascinated by the process. They stand there and watch and ask what it is and how it's done and whatnot. And they get a pretty good feeling from watching what's being done. They all ooh and ah and how it's done, and most likely if the pasta's being made while they're watching it, they'll order. When they sit down, they'll order with a certain sauce and try
actually it. The various shapes are all made with the same machine, but it's the attachment on the front that makes it come out.
Correct. It's called an extruder, where then you add different dyes to it, which would make either a spaghetti or fettuccine or cavatelli.
And are the ingredients the same in all of them?
No, they change.
They do
They
change.
change from eggs to milk and to different other ingredients.
And you're right, it is fascinating because I've stood there and watched it. Mm-hmm. And of course, with pies in your name, you make your pies right in the front where everybody can see them being made.
Yes, I think that's part of the intrigue that people have when they come into the restaurant. They see the pies being baked right in front of them. They see we make about 35 different varieties of pies, mm-hmm. and we have one case where they're all the fruit pies, and then we have another case where they're all the cream pies and so forth. Quality levels are all just the best that we can possibly make, and our cream pies are the real cream.
So the purpose in doing it up front, instead of in the kitchen where nobody could see it and just serving it, is one, as an attraction to see the process being made.
Absolutely.
I know in most restaurants, certainly in yours, where the desserts are featured in the front so that people see them when they're coming in to whet their appetite. So while they're eating, they're thinking about that dessert that they're going to order. I know that many restaurants, diners, all of your restaurants certainly do that. Does that work also with yours? But basically, are you a pie restaurant?
Basically, when I first got involved in this business 10 years ago, we were basically a pie restaurant with a minimum of food. And I felt that it was very important that if you were going to sell pies, you also had to have a good restaurant. And so what we did was actually upgraded the restaurant. The restaurant has gotten so good at this point that it's outstripping the pies.
Mm-hmm.
But pies are what we're about, and quality is what we're about. Our feeling is that you've got to give the customer the very best ingredients, whether it's in your pies or in your food. That's what he is looking for. The American consumer loves quality, despite what most people think. And of course, the Japanese automakers have taught us that. And now American automobiles are starting to get a lot better. But Americans love quality, and but you've got to provide it to them.
So what we're talking about when we're talking about the magic formula for successful restaurants is quality first, value, which means large portions at a price that is affordable, cleanliness, which is very, very important.
That's an absolute given.
For a successful restaurant, you sit there and say that's an absolute given, but maybe for all the restaurants that are failing in these times, maybe it's not a given. And service, let the customer know that he or she is the most important person in the world, and that's the reason that you're there. And if they have to wait, they'll wait for it. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. So as a customer and not a restaurant person, my feeling is that I have a better view of having talked to you about what it's all about, and I thank you both for being here today. My guests today, as we have picked our way through this wonderful food, have been David Spivak of Grandma's Country Pie Restaurant and Nicholas Racanelli of the Pizza and Brew Restaurants. I'm Norman Liss. Thank you for being with us today, and enjoy yourself.